Multiple Subject Teaching Credential Portfolio Entry by Ashley Ford for Pacific Oaks College Special Education Course 551. The following presentation will demonstrate the Common Core Standards for English Language Arts Reading Informational Text for Grade Level 3. Common Core Standard 3.3 describes the relationship between a series of historical events, scientific ideas, or steps and technical procedures in a text, using language that pertains to time, sequence, and cause-effect. Common Core Standard 3.8 describes the logical connection between particular sentences and paragraphs in a text, ergo, comparison, cause and effect, first, second, third in a sequence. Evidence of knowledge, skill, and disposition. Cause and effect. Hello, my name is Miss Ford, and today I will be teaching you how to write about cause and effect with Angry Birds. When we write about the cause of an event, we are talking about the reasons the event occurred. Let's take a look at a sample sentence. The reason the tower fell was because the angry bird was launched from the slingshot into the tower. Note the key words reason and because that help us identify the why or cause. The angry bird was launched from the slingshot. To determine the effect, we need to search our sentence for what happened. The effect or result of the cause was the tower falling. Now that we understand the difference between cause and effect, let's practice writing cause and effect statements with the following historical events that we have been learning about this week: the Boston Tea Party, the Stamp Act, and the Quartering Act. Let us check our work. The causes of the Boston Tea Party were several British policies, laws, and taxes imposed upon the American colonists. The effects of the Boston Tea Party were British Parliament ordering the Royal Navy to blockade the Boston harbor, preventing supplies from entering and Boston merchants from selling their goods under the 1774 Intolerable Acts. In result, the American colonists protested and resisted. Let us check our work. The causes of the Stamp Act were the British government needed to create money to support the army, so they created the Stamp Act of 1765. This act required colonists to pay for an official stamp or seal when they brought paper items. The effects of the Stamp Act were the colonists protested against the Stamp Act immediately. Colonists formed a society called the Sons of Liberty. Let us check our work. The causes of the Quartering Act were Parliament punished Boston for the Boston Tea Party. This act required colonists to house British soldiers. The effects of the Quartering Act were increasing the people's anger at Britain. It fanned the flames of the Revolution. Let's move on to sequencing using time order, such as chronological order. Place the historical events from the first practice into chronological order. Let us check our work. The first event to take place in this series was the Stamp Act. We know this because it was one of the causes that led to the effect in the Boston Tea Party event. The second event to take place was the Boston Tea Party, but we don't quite know this until we figure out that the third event to take place was the Quartering Act. Why? Because the Quartering Act was an effect of the Boston Tea Party. So we know that the Stamp Act led to the Boston Tea Party, and the Boston Tea Party led to the Quartering Act. Now that you have practiced identifying causes and effects, and practiced placing events in time order, you can go home and show your parents and family. For tonight's homework, ask a family member to help you create a timeline of cause and effect, or a poster demonstrating a process. Be creative and come to class tomorrow ready to share your timeline. Please welcome your parents to come to class and serve as your assistant during your presentation. Rationale of evidence. The lesson plan allows me to present the concept of cause and effect in simple terms, using familiar, age-appropriate animation such as Angry Birds. This not only helps the children relate to the concept, it also eases their fears about learning a new topic. It eases them into the more complex application of the information they are processing. The lesson applies the concept and ties it to the current history lesson that the children are already familiar with, making it easier for them to create cause and effect statements. The lesson introduces the concept of time order after the student has had the opportunity to explore the topics in detail and is comfortable with cause and effect. This scaffolding technique chunks the information into smaller, easier to comprehend sections. The lesson applies the concept of time order by having the student create their own chronological order of cause and effect events with their family at home. This encourages partnerships and involves the parents. This also gives the child the opportunity to incorporate his or her own culture into the lesson while encouraging diversity. The child is given the opportunity to share his or her timeline with the class so that others can benefit from the diversity of projects. In addition, the child that has fears of speaking publicly is reassured by having their familiar family member nearby to assist with props and other items. Use of a variety of visuals engages the learner while creating experience to link the key concepts being introduced. Verbal reinforcement ensures the students of all abilities can benefit from the information being presented, enhances the visual elements as well. Including the family allows the teacher to build professional partnerships with the families and brings the culture of each student into the classroom for diversity awareness and inclusion. Reflection. I know my hearing impaired and visually impaired learners were able to participate and feel included because they completed the task just as well as other learners with the assistance of my verbal and visual adaptations. Being sure to face the audience when speaking, pointing to key parts on the presentation, handing out a typed transcript of the presentation, and speaking slowly and enunciating my words as I speak, and so on. I know my students understand the key concepts because they were able to demonstrate their comprehension of compare and contrast in the classroom by correctly identifying the cause and effects of the events leading up to the Revolutionary War and ordered sequenced them correctly. I know that my lesson engaged my learners because they were alert and eager to participate in those exercises.